Today at 4 o'clock is the continuation, I guess, on some type of emergency motion that Proctor has filed with the court asking for protective order against Karen Reed and also wanting to delay, we can call it that, I'm not a lawyer, so we're going to say to delay his deposition with AJ. I can't imagine what really could be the emergency. Said he cited many. But I have to know, does defecating in biblical proportion fit into one of those things? I mean, obviously, he's not going to put that down, but immediately this was filed after Karen and AJ announced that they were filing the lawsuit against, I believe it's Canton PD. You can correct me if I'm wrong because I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a doctor. I'm a forensic tarot profiler. I'm going to look deep in this and see exactly why Proctor is wanting to make this change. Now, I love using these cards because these are the Mythic Tarot. This is the Karen Reed group, the Kipper, and then the Cartomancy is the Fire deck. Now, I want to lay out the Kipper first because Proctor's attorneys refer to him as just a mere, slight mere, not so significant. Look, I've said it before and I'll continue to say my opinion, and that is he has been a throwaway since this whole thing began. He was chosen by those that the powers of be. He was chosen to come in because they knew how he acted. They knew him. They knew that possibly there was a chance of him planting something. Certainly seeds of discord. So when it's all said and done, the tide of the battle is going to turn here. And that turn is going to take place very soon. That's John. He comes out constantly when we're reading on these characters. And I know that in the tubes of you've heard of things like consistent characters. Well, these people are consistent, okay. Now, I know some of you are going to say, Zelda, where's your gloves? Where's your nails? Okay. It is a rest week for me. It's a rest week. The nails, I'm giving a rest. Hands giving a rest. That has to happen sometimes. Nothing is wrong. Let's concentrate on the cards. All right, here we are. And the thought, look at this. If that doesn't look like AJ, I don't know what does, but there's a false person here. It's not Karen. I want to put out one more card. Let's make a little room for these guys. Now, on the 4th, when I was reading, it came up that there were going to be delays. It was a 6 of diamonds. Delays, but there was more coming out as far as telephone calls, etc., etc., etc. That's the gift. It's going to be, these phone extractions are going to be the gift that keeps on giving. And I'm going to say starting about in 4 days, things are really the pot is going to be stirred. The proverbial pot that everyone is putting their little opinions and evidence and everything else is getting stirred. But why is there, it seems now that people want to delay depositions. I mean, going through the military, maybe, I don't know. Saying that there is some type of an emergency, is it medical? Look, I'm going to tell you this about courts. Again, I'm not a lawyer. But I will tell you what I do know, and you have to have something really dire straits for the court to release you. It's not going to be, well, you know what, Proctor was out back and he was tending his garden and the manure truck backed over his foot. Okay, that's fine. Did he go to the emergency room? Yes, sir. But he can't do a deposition while his foot's not talking. He can limp in, he can go. You see what I mean? Now, if this is going to be, he's having a mental breakdown, which, in all fairness, many people do. There's some type of statistic out there, I've not been able to find it, but I found it a long time ago, maybe I can, that if anyone is under some type of a legal battle and or investigation by state, local, or even federal authorities, the possibility of really succumbing to some type of medical upset becomes very high. We don't wish that on anybody. We don't wish it on anybody. So here's the thing that I want you to understand. If you hear that he's gone into some type of rehab or mental facility, unless he is deemed incompetent, he will have to eventually give some type of deposition. He's not going to be able to come out of it. What is incompetent? Well, the ability to understand, to be consistent, to be constant, to express yourself with an expressed knowledge. You get it. They give the same test to dementia patients. I know. My grandmother was one. You all probably know that too. And then there's got to be medical evals. There's got to be, all kinds of, so this would be nothing that it's just going to be, oh, tickety boom. Okay, Proctor's out. Proctor thinks, his attorneys think that he is just a mere witness. Well, that mere witness can escalate. And by their actions, we shall know them. Because, again, he was the throwaway. The throwaway means that he was set up, he was used as well. And I will also tell you, if you watch, there's the old saying, kick him when he's down. These two have fallen out. Kick him when he's down. Well, that's exactly what he'll get, preferably. Whoa. That's exactly what he will get, is the proverbial kick him when he's down, because, and I'm not talking violence at all. What I'm talking about is, it's a metaphor that says, look, when somebody's going through a lot, you just put a little bit more on their plate. It makes it heavier. One way or another, he's not going to be able to come out of this freely. So I want to look and see what he's up to. Divorce? Possibly. I mean, ladies, would you not know what your husband is like? But I don't know, because sometimes men, and I've seen that in my readings, they can have a completely different persona during work than they do at home. This mature man, I'm going to say this, represents Michael Morrissey, the DA. He's behind a lot of things, not on the civil side, but he was on the criminal side. But his, I'm going to say, it just is like flowing over, trickling over into the civil side. And now we're going to see, and he's not running for office anymore. We know that. They're all running scared. Depending upon who is elected, believe me, when they take that oath of office, they're just going to hit the floor running and goodbye. That's the way it's going to be. I want you to think of the Josh Levy days. That was the head of the FBI in this particular case case, not the head of the FBI, period. In this particular case, he was making some headway, and then there was a admin change, which usually happens naturally with every election. The feds are waiting behind. There's going to be another drop, and I'm going to say, look from the 11th to the 17th of this month, just a few more days yet, and you're going to start seeing, and now that'll start playing out behind the scenes. I'm going to tell you, I think it's family, first of all. Proctor thought he was winning, but the unfortunate part is that his family came out on behalf of Proctor. Do you remember that? That was a cringy move. The 9 of Swords. Basically, look at this. These people. Here's Moisha. Hello. Yes, he is my Jewish Torah pointer. Yes. All are welcome here. Look at the tongues wagging. People saying things. Now, the swords are air elements, my darlings. It's all about your thought process. And I'm going to tell you what right now, Proctor's thoughts are his absolute worst enemy. No person. It's his own self, his own thoughts. And yet there's a part of him that thinks that he's still going to win and come out of this. Maybe. But it doesn't look like that. This 2 of Wands, making this choice in order to move on. But I gotta point something out. This is why I like these cards. This little guy in the background is a Pan. Is a mythological character. He is considered a Pan. But you know, he looks very close to and the representation of the Devil card. And I'm going to show you that right here. Give me a second. Because it's significant. Look at this. There's the Hierophant. He looks like that in here too, right? But I want to show you the Devil card. Because it is so very significant. Well, maybe someday. Aren't these cards pretty though? I really love these cards. I use them primarily to read for Karen and Turtle Boy. There it is, almost last, but certainly not least. Look at him now. Now, this looks like a Pan because he's got different types of, now it's a similar look. I'm not saying it's the same, but it's a similar look. And I want you to look at this. Why am I pointing this out? Well, I'll tell you why, my darlings. And I'm just going to put it back where I got it. So if we shuffle more, that's fine. Because the Devil card is a sign for Capricorn and Turtle Boy is a sign for Capricorn. And didn't Proctor or someone, maybe it wasn't Proctor, I think it was Yuri, said that he was afraid of Turtle Boy, aka Aiden Carney? This is Proctor making a choice and wanting to move on, and yet behind the scenes, see, this is where this is coming in, behind the scenes, there is Turtle Boy, who brought all of this. So I'm going to just tell you right now, if it were not for Aiden, and I don't know Aiden, I've never spoken to him. I think once on his live a long time ago, I donated something and he was kind and, whatever. But that's as far as it goes. I don't need it to go any further, and probably he doesn't either. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, but I'm going to say this. If this weren't for Turtle Boy, I would have never known what this case was all about. I saw it briefly on the news back in the day in 24, and immediately I thought, oh boy, she's innocent. She's being set up. And then it just didn't come across my algorithm. And then I saw something about Turtle Boy. And I thought, oh, this looks interesting. And the more I heard, then I started watching the trial. And I came in late in 2024. I think it was early May. And I caught a few people on stand, and then I saw Higgy Baby on the stand, and I thought, whoa. And of course, that's when I started reading, and it turned out daily for that case until last year, almost a year now, to June 18th. But that, with each and every one of them, not only Proctor, the fact that Turtle Boy has lived rent-free in his head and in the heads of so many others, that has become an issue for him because paranoia is a thing. I don't know if it's Proctor's thing, but I'm going to tell you, having this card come out with these images that are similar, tells me that Proctor is very concerned about lawsuits, and even though he's not a party in that particular lawsuit, all has to happen is somebody point their finger. You know what? I think I saw Proctor do this and this and this in the Sally port, or I think I saw Proctor down at the junkyard. Well, I'm just saying that as an example. Did he get a tail light that would have been a replacement for Karen? Maybe. I'm not saying he did. I'm giving that as an example. The Lover's card comes out here because I'm going to tell you, my darlings, he is definitely having problems at home and a little on the outside circle as well. Not only that, but this is the sign of Gemini. Now, the one thing about Geminis, I like Geminis. I have a lot of Geminis around me. But the one thing about Geminis is that they sometimes will second guess themselves in a particular situation like this. Am I doing the right thing? Maybe I need to pull back. Maybe I need to think about this again. And they want to do right so much that they are overachievers. Now, some people say it's good twin, evil twin. I don't want to go that far. Although one I know does that. Anyway, it's not relevant to this. I'm going to say this. If he feels that he's going to walk away from this, he lives on Fantasy Island and he's looking for the plane. But I do believe that he is suffering. I don't wish harm on anyone, okay? And I'm going to also tell you that I think it's best if you're going to just put initials in the comments if you're going to comment, please, because normally those names will be held. And I like it when you comment. Now that came out, and that's interesting because this gal right here happens to be I'm going to say this sign for Jennifer McCabe. Do I feel that the cards have always said that there was more to this than meets the eye with Jennifer? Possibly, probably, sort of, kind of, maybe. Yeah. See, there's a lot of players here. And when we get to the fall of this year, we're going to know exactly where people stand. Interestingly enough, this is a partnership with these McHouse McDefendants, the ham sandwiches, if you will. And this comes forward after the realization that this is going to cost money. And that's kind of funny, odd, not funny, odd, not really odd, funny, that this card I feel looks like AJ. Sometimes, now I'm not a lawyer, but it's through just recognition. Sometimes legal proceedings are scheduled. Let me see if there's a kind way I can put this. It's part of an agenda to bust the other party. There we go, financially. That's gentle, wasn't it? It's kind of a strategy because, let's face it, if you run out of money, your case tanks. And Karen lost everything. Aiden was really on the brink of it, and he climbed out of that, and he's hanging in there. But Karen lost her career, her home, her house, her vehicle, her career, her everything. Lost everything and living with her parents now. And if it weren't for the collective coming together of all the fundraisers, I believe those attorneys on her team went above and beyond because they saw what the strategy was to break Karen financially. Now, let's bring this into the future. Where are the ham sandwiches getting the money to fight this? Because coming up, scheduling, rescheduling, now obviously Proctor's got to have some money too. These attorneys are not going to do this for free. And now they're going to ask for, Karen's side's going to ask for travel expenses and so on and so on and so on, because I don't know if he's going to get it or not, or if they're going to get it. But you see, there's other attorneys here, there's other people, but then it gets down here. And this is right here, is these two together are two of the most significant cards in this particular card reading. And maybe we can add on this one, but these two. This one is basically a card of saying we need to wait and see what's going to happen, because there's a lot of moving parts. There's some sacrifices that have been made on everyone's part, not just Karen, not just Turtle Boy, on everyone's part. I don't like to see families break up. I hope that's not the case. But believe me, I certainly understand. Kids come first. And that's another thing. There's sacrifices there. There's domination there. But this partnership with the hams, yeah, I'm going to name them that, with the hams, is pretty interesting because we have now, this is a card of depression. Severe depression, anxiety, upset. Do you think Proctor had to go to his doctor? He may have. He may have today, because I think the filing of the lawsuit to the police department and or whomever that was kind of pushed him a little, over. And I think that there may be maybe a short evaluation but he will do the deposition. And I'm going to say it will be within 5 days, because this is a card of an investment of time. It's not only money, but how this reads. It's an investment of time. This fall, again, is going to be a card of a lot of changes. And believe me, I think some of these people in these lawsuits are going to get a big education on how the law really works, not on how the law can be twisted and used in their own circumstances. It's amazing because we have two partnership cards here. We have the Two of Diamonds, which is also your thoughts and so forth, and that's beside the Lover's card. So it's the thoughts of his wife and family that are coming together. And then we have this partnership over here, which is also marriage, sharing lives together, sharing together. These cards coincide together because it's not only about him being married and family, it's about what they are thinking of him. That's a tough one. The court of public opinion is one thing, but the court of the home fires burning is completely another. There's a lot of uncertainty that Proctor is feeling going forward. And I'm going to tell you, I believe that those Ham defendants, McHams, does that not sound like McDonald's? Okay, so anyway, McHam defendants have all but shunned him. I think they have shunned him. You see, he did what he was supposed to do, and that was it. And when they were done with him, cut. I think Proctor has a lot to say, but I also feel that there is a particular fear there. There's a particular fear. What if Proctor, aside from him just being the scummy part of all the text and how he really feels, let's dig a little deeper, my darlings. What if, let's see what's on the bottom here. What if, because there's a lot of suspicion here. Yes card. What if he told the truth? What if he came to the court and said, look, I'm wrong, and I'll take my licks, but somebody associated with this, I'm not going to say it because it's entertainment purposes only, but someone who was possibly sort of kind of maybe involved with the circle asked me to do a particular thing, and I did it. I did it because it was presented to me as being a duty for Officer John O'Keefe, and that false person I keep coming back to, JM. What if that? Think of that. And don't believe that it hasn't thought about that. And if it gets really worse on him, because it will, that's one thing you can count on. Taxes and it getting worse on Proctor. Oh yeah, it will get definitely worse on Proctor. There will be more delays coming, and it will not be good. There will be more letters, more motions coming. The legal teams are going to try to expand on this information. I don't know how good it's going to be because, we've got until August for this evidence to be submitted to the court, is my understanding. But what if? Because this thing can make a complete twist. Serious complete twist. And listen, I'm voting for Proctor. Now look, I want all of you to understand, I do not condone what he has done, but I'm voting for him to do the right thing. If he does have that information, will he do the right thing? That's the question of the day, because he's understanding that he's going to start experiencing some things. There's the change card. So he's a change of pathway, because, going from making a lot of money for a trooper down to an Uber driver. I don't even think he's that. despair. Do you see the despair? Do you see everything? And there's the Lover's card again, which matches. That's amazing. Which matches. We've got the Lovers here. So his family life is suffering. And I can bet you 10 to 1 that she has said, don't you dare bring any of our family issues into this. You can touch base on it, but don't you dare. Because I don't want people to know how I really feel. No, because at this point she's probably thinking I made a complete fool of myself and his sister too by going out and saying he's such a fantastic fellow. But there's change coming. He's getting ready to change pathways. You watch and see. Desperation brings out this side of people where they just don't care anymore. If he understands he's facing something extremely serious, it just may be, look, we're just going to tell all. Yeah, do I have a perjury here? Look at this. Amazing enough, the 8 of Cups. This 6 of Cups. Family, creating memories. That's so this is extremely emotional for his family because she's scared to death. My gosh, would you not be too? I certainly would be. I certainly would be. If my husband was the main breadwinner and all of this was coming out, I would just say, look, sayonara, pal, I'm out. And I would move to the furthest state and make sure that no one knew who I was or my children. This 2 of Cups matches this 2 of Hearts. So do I think this may be foundation family? Yes. Do I think that they may mention it? Maybe touch on it a little. And I think it's going to translate into Proctor having very, very hard issues and problems. That's what I'm getting. The Fool. Now, there's one thing about this Fool. The Fool is all about wiping the slate clean and starting over. And see, that just intrigues me. But it also concerns me at the same time. What is he planning to do? And is there a point where he will plan to do something with himself? Ironically enough, take a look closely to this card. The despair is real. He will never be a cop in that state again. And let's hope that he's not like Nanos and just goes to another state that doesn't check. But I don't think so. But look at the sign and what it says. Not hiring. That's real. That is real. He's got some disorders that he has to deal with. I'm not going to celebrate if he's going through this, and especially for his family. But what I will say is this man deserves every legal sanction that he gets and beyond. And especially if he was involved with something, a little seed that he planted. Let me say that. The 8 of Cups. It's that situation before you get to the 9 of Cups, which, incidentally, is the same as the 9 of Hearts. This 8 of Cups is all about doing the best you can do and then walking away. I have a very eerie, bad feeling about this. I have for a long time. We may not see it anytime soon. But I'm going to say that we are here and most likely will witness some type of breakdown. And it makes me sad for the family. But ironically enough, the first card in this starts out at 34 Fairview in the family room. And the next card that is next to it, Officer John O'Keefe. And the next card, that fake person who wanted to make sure that Karen was nailed and that they could all walk away and not even participate. Even think about this again. It's not going to happen because Alan Jackson is making sure that that is the gift that keeps giving. Remember June 11th through the 17th and 8 days. Now this is the 8th of June. A lot of things are coming about, my darlings. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.